Howdy, folks. I'm horrifying horologium, horribly hatcheting, heartwarming hours.
I'm Amber.
And here are more heartwarming hours for us to hatch it. I'm a clock, not a horror movie monster, Amber. I
I
don't know.
I know I described you more like a Langolier, but I just really like the idea of using horrifying and horologium and horribly all together in a sentence, and so
And hatchets, apparently. And
it
hatchets.
was the best I could do.
Let's get started. Alright, folks, and our first creepy story is titled, Am I a Jerk for Shaming My Creepy Uncle on a Family Cruise? I'm a 19-year-old female, and I'm currently on a massive family cruise with over 24 relatives, a mix of close and extended family. This trip was supposed to be a fun getaway, but it turned sour after a karaoke night that blew up, and now I'm at odds with much of my family. After karaoke, one of my uncles, who I've barely interacted with over the years, got extremely drunk in front of a group that included my teenage cousins. He made a comment about me saying, "Isn't she a hot piece of meat?" and followed it up with a lewd gesture. Some of my cousins, mostly the teenage boys, laughed along with his joke. This uncle has always been popular among the younger male relatives because he's the cool guy who openly talks about girls and sex and parties and other adult stuff, making him somewhat of an idol to them. Feeling violated and upset, I turned to Instagram to vent. I posted about the incident without naming names, but made it clear that I found his behavior creepy and unacceptable. I thought that my friends and perhaps empathetic family members would support me, but the backlash was immediate and intense. My parents are livid with me. They argued that in today's feminist #MeToo era, that it's incredibly hard to be a man, and that my actions contribute to what they perceive as anti-straight discrimination. They've demanded that I apologize to my uncle and take down a post claiming that I've embarrassed the family and made a mountain out of a molehill. The reaction from the rest of my family has been mixed, but notably, my teenage male cousins on my dad's side who think that the uncle is cool have been making my life a nightmare, day and night, mocking me, calling me a feminist bee, and trying to trip me at the buffet line and at the pool, throwing poo noodles at me. Their parents, my dad and other brothers, sisters, refuse to do anything about it. My parents say that I should apologize to them for what I did. Alright folks, what do you think?
So much not the jerk, and I am so sorry you are going through this, OP. What your family is doing is inexcusable. Like, what is wrong with your parents? Your uncle said something very creepy and harassing about you.
Yeah.
And instead of backing you up and telling him that he should never talk about you that way again, they're like, oh, boo-hoo, it's so hard for him to be a man in this day and age. You can't say creepy things about your niece and get away with it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that that's a really horrible argument that they're making here, right? I mean, it's not hard to be a decent human being. It's not hard to not say sexually harassing things, right?
Right, and then calling out sexual harassment anti-straight discrimination.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it just, you don't get to sexually harass people. That's end of story. It has nothing to do with straight or gay.
Yeah, suppose, for instance, if it had been like a aunt who had said something like this, it would still be completely unacceptable, right? And that's really what it boils down to. Like, this isn't acceptable behavior, and he shouldn't be making these comments, and he shouldn't be setting this example to the teenage boys, and the rest of your family are terrible for not shutting this down. You shouldn't have had to post something on Instagram because you should have been able to have, your family should have had your back.
Right. I mean, you are in a vulnerable position. You are younger, probably smaller than him. He is, this creepy old man, and like, they should have immediately come to your rescue and told him, this is not okay. Your cousins should have been like, dude, what is wrong with you? Like, I just don't understand your family. I'm so sorry you have to deal with this nonsense.
Yeah. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And used Mark 7911 says, not a jerk and your whole family is disgusting. This includes your truly awful parents who thinks it's okay for your uncle to sexualize you and for the rest of your family to bully you. Your parents should be truly ashamed. This is trash behavior. And Sam Anime says, 100% agree. I'm a guy and I have no trouble existing in this #MeToo era. It doesn't take much to not be a scumbag. His comment even if he was completely drunk, is absolutely over the line, and any family members who are defending his actions are disgusting. Sorry that you have to deal with this, especially somewhere like a cruise ship, which makes it hard to avoid them. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for just laying down and taking it when my brother made sexual comments about my daughter and her friend? Sounds a little bit like deja vu. Just for full disclosure, I posted this thread a few days ago and did a dirty delete, but now I'm starting to see some not the jerks, so I'm a 49-year-old male and I have a wonderful daughter named Maya, a 20-year-old female, together with my wife, a 48-year-old female. Maya is very athletic and she plays soccer and runs. And as the weather has been warming up, she has been going out on runs with her good friend in the 20s. Earlier this month, while Maya and her friend were visiting our house from college, I went with them out to the local field. There they ran several laps while I played fetch with our adorable Bish and Friss. We were joined by my 47-year-old brother. Maya and her friend were all worn out from running, and just as a joke, her friend tackled her and they fell to the ground together, laughing. When my brother said something along the lines of, "This is where it gets interesting," I asked him what he could have meant by the comment, and he started saying something about girl on girl before he just said, "Never mind." I didn't really feel much like pursuing the matter any further. It was only a few nights ago where I told my wife what my brother said about Maya and her friend. My wife took it very badly, and we quickly started arguing about exactly how I should have reacted to the comments. She thinks that I'm chicken for just taking my brother's joke and not doing anything about it. The argument was heated enough that I chose to sleep in a different room than her. It's been days now, and we're still sleeping in different rooms. I would just like to note that my brother has generalized anxiety disorder, so I tend to go easy on him because he doesn't really know what he is saying half the time. That's not to say that I'm not mad at him for making the joke about my daughter, but I kind of understand his train of thought as he was making the joke. Alright folks, what do you think?
Yes, you're the jerk, and it's really disgusting that you are blaming anxiety. Like, there are lots of people with anxiety, myself included, who do not run around all day saying inappropriate jokes. Like, it is not a hallmark feature of anxiety. And I understand that you may not like making your brother feel anxious, but there are times when feeling anxious is a good thing. It helps us not say those bad and hurtful things.
Yeah, I mean, if there were a time to feel anxiety about saying a comment, this would be the time to feel anxiety about saying it. You should not be making comments like this about your niece, right? And I think that that's really what the kicker here is that OP had an opportunity to, pull his brother aside and say, hey, look, that's not a nice thing to say, and you shouldn't be saying those kinds of things. This is really hurtful, and you shouldn't be sexualizing my daughter like this, right? But instead, he was like, I'm not going to push this any further. Which, I mean, in the future, I think might signal to his brother that, oh, maybe it wasn't such a bad thing that I said this. So if he's really worried about his brother's judgment when it comes to saying things, then he should absolutely be stepping up and shutting these comments down because they're not acceptable.
Right. And I mean, if you know anyone who has trouble with social cues, it is not good to like shelter them and just let them say really awful things, because they are going to hurt people when they say that. And it's important to help them not hurt people by telling them, hey, what you said isn't cool.
But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Lizzie says, you're the jerk. You stood by and said nothing while your gross brother sexualized your daughter, then felt the need to bring it up to your wife later for some reason. Of course, she would have expected her daughter's father to say something to defend her against her uncle being gross. Why did your wife need to hear this icky antidote? What was the purpose of bringing it up to her? To disappoint her when she learned that you just let him sexualize his niece? Are you scared to stand up to your brother? Or is it total apathy to him sexualizing your daughter? Edit ad, your edit about your brother having generalized anxiety disorder and not knowing what to say is not an excuse for a horny old man to make nasty comments about his niece, who I assume he's known since she was born. We all understand what he was getting at here. It doesn't make it an okay thing to say about your child. Grow up. And Slacker Chick says, as somebody who has generalized anxiety disorder, you're the jerk. Anxiety disorder has nothing to do with sexualizing people or blurting out inappropriate / borderline incestuous comments like that. Your brother was literally talking about being turned on by his niece and her friend. Not only are you the jerk, but it's extremely troubling that your brother would say something like that about your daughter. So, what do you care more about? Tiptoeing around your brother's inappropriate behavior or correcting him to be certain that he knows that you find his sexual comments about your daughter by her uncle to be inappropriate? All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, My boyfriend and I were supposed to move in together 2 weeks ago, but he bought an $87,000 truck without telling me. I refused to move in with him. I am very annoyed. He didn't even speak to me about it. We had so many discussions about moving in together and getting married, and then he goes and purchases a truck that's $2,000 more than his annual salary. If you're asking how a truck can be $87,000, that's the price that you get when you put every addition on that you want. He showed me the truck expecting me to be excited, and I was livid. When he bought his truck, we were only a month from moving in together. We had got into a bad argument where he told me that it was his money and that he could do whatever he wanted with it. So I said fine, and I told him that I'm not comfortable with moving in with him anymore. I asked my landlord if my apartment was still available and if I could renew my lease, and they said yes. Now my boyfriend is saying that he can't afford his place and his truck. I don't feel bad. You should have thought of that before buying something so expensive without talking to your girlfriend of 2 years. I have had some of his friends' girlfriends reach out to me, and they say that I should support him, and one even say that I'm not loyal, and this shows that I wouldn't support him if we were married, since I would run away when finances get bad. That's BS. He didn't lose his job or get hurt. He bought an expensive item without discussing it. I have been trying to get him to return the truck because it's already affecting his finances badly. He has only had this truck for 2 weeks, and he's worried that next month or two that he won't be able to cover all of the expenses that he usually has. This past weekend, we had another argument, and I think our relationship is going to end. I'm not helping him pay for his truck, and I'm not moving in with him. I have already asked for a break, and I will be thinking about what to do. Edit, I appreciate the different opinions that everyone has given me. I have a lot to think about. To answer 2 questions, no, he doesn't need the truck. He works from home, and if he has to check in at work, he has an office. Also, his friends and their girlfriends know about the issue because he asked for their views when we were getting together last week. Only 2 girlfriends reached out to me to tell me that I wasn't being supportive. The others have minded their own business. All right, folks, what do you think?
No, definitely not the jerk, and you are making a very wise move. While technically, yes, this is his money, you are talking about moving into a household together where you would both be footing the cost. And you would be putting your financial future on the line by being with him, because when it gets to a point where he can't both make his truck payments and pay for the apartment, you know who's going to be on the hook for the apartment.
Yeah, I think that this is a tricky situation because, like Amber said, this is his money, and I mean, technically, yeah, he can spend his money on whatever he wants, right? But also, if he is going to be spending this kind of money and he's going to have a car loan that he needs to pay on a monthly basis, and it's going to extend into their marriage, because it sounds like that they were talking about getting married relatively soon, then this seems like it is to some degree OP's business. And like Amber said also, what happens if he has even less money or spends even more money on different things? Then he's going to basically be like, well, I can't pay for rent this month, so you're going to have to cover all of it, right?
Right. I mean, he's shown that he is financially reckless. It does not sound like this is a purchase he can comfortably afford, and it sounds like he's about prioritizing his happiness over the financial security of your future.
Yeah, I mean, this wasn't like a business purchase or a business expense or something that is going to like be able to bring him money, and it's a pure liability, right? I mean, that cars, they only depreciate in value. He's not going to be able to hold on to this truck and sell it for more money than it's worth later on. It literally will just depreciate until it's worthless.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the trouble. If he had gone and spent $100,000 on a really good business opportunity where he's like, oh, I think that this is really my passion and I want to like pursue this opportunity, that might have been a different situation. I still think that this is, with as close as they are, that it might have been still worth a conversation about something like that.
Yeah,
right?
I think if you're at the point of moving in together, big purchases do need to be discussed. Like, even if you have separate finances,
Mm-hmm.
because your lives are intertwined and you're paying the same like house bill, utilities, all that stuff, those kind of conversations have to happen. And I think OP is well within her right to walk if it doesn't seem like he has the same priorities she does in this relationship.
Yeah. And again, like with finances, you should be able to set up your own budget, and you should be able to budget and make sure that everything that you have is well within your expenses, right? A car this expensive, I can't imagine that it's going to be a cheap purchase, even if he spreads it over 10 years. I mean, 10 years with interest, I mean, we're looking at like 150,000 probably when it's all said and done at that point in time. And that's just going to be a pretty expensive car, like 15,000 a year. Maybe I'm miscalculating something right there in my head, but that feels like probably close to what he's going to have to pay. And that's a huge amount of money out of your household budget. Their boyfriend has every right to buy this truck, but OP also has every right to walk away from a relationship where they don't feel financially secure. So I think that door works both ways. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she allegedly has a joke about time.
No. What kind of shoes do beaches wear?
Beaches wear Tide shoes that tell the time.
Sandals.
Sandals? Sand timer shoes, where they have like a fancy sand timer installed in the heels. So imagine like this. I'm seeing it now. Stiletto heels, but with sand hourglasses in them. Yeah.
They wouldn't really be stilettos at that point, though.
Oh, whatever. Yes, high heel, chunky heels. Are you happy? Are you happy? She is. She's very smug and very happy. And I have Earl Grey.
That'd be rather impractical, too, because, like, flipping them over to restart the time, it's going to be kind of annoying.
Well, I mean, that depends how they're installed in the bottom of the shoes. Maybe you can just rotate them.
I mean, maybe.
And the heel is attached to, like, a mechanism that's a cage for the sand timer.
Yeah, get on this business invention.
That's engineering, folks. We solved time. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy wonderful Wednesday, Hump Day, Friday, Junior's Eve. Amber, we need some kind of moral advice and or guidance, and please have it on sexual harassment.
Don't
sexually harass people. Wow, what a concept. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.